Ever wondered how to build a birdhouse? It's more than just a charming addition to your garden. It's a cozy retreat for our feathered friends, a place where they can find shelter and raise their young. Building a birdhouse is a fantastic way to support wildlife, and it's also a fun and rewarding DIY project. So whether you're a seasoned craftsman or a beginner with a newfound passion for woodworking, this guide is for you. Today, we're going to take you step by step through the process of making a birdhouse from scratch. We'll show you what tools and materials you'll need, how to cut and assemble the wood, and even throw in some design tips for that personal touch. But before we start, make sure you've got your work gloves on, and let's talk about what we'll need. For our avian abode, we'll be working with cedar wood, known for its durability and natural resistance to weather. This wood is a prime choice due to its ability to withstand the elements, ensuring our feathered friends have a sturdy home. Now, onto the tools we'll need. A hammer and nails are essential for putting together the structure of our birdhouse. Keep in mind, the size of the nails matters. We're going for nails that are long enough to secure the pieces, but not so long that they poke through the other side. We'll also need a saw to cut our cedar wood into the right sizes. Remember, always use safety goggles when working with saws to protect your eyes from any flying debris. Lastly, don't forget the most important tool of all, your creativity. This will come in handy when we get to designing and decorating our birdhouse. Alright, let's dive in and get sawing. First up, we're cutting our cedar wood to size. This step is crucial as it lays the foundation for our avian retreat. Now, you don't need to be a master carpenter to do this. All you need is a steady hand, a sharp saw, and a little patience. We start by measuring our wood. Remember that age-old adage, measure twice, cut once. It's not just a saying, it's a wise practice. A small mistake here could lead to a wonky birdhouse, and we certainly don't want that. So take your time, mark your measurements clearly, and double-check them before moving on. Once you're confident with your measurements, it's time to make the cut. Now, cutting wood isn't just about brute force, it's also about technique. You want to apply steady pressure and make long, smooth strokes with your saw. This will help you get a clean, straight cut. If you're a beginner, you might find it a little challenging at first, but don't worry. With a bit of practice, you'll get the hang of it. And remember, it's not a race. It's better to take your time and get it right than to rush and make a mistake. While cutting, always make sure you're wearing your safety goggles. Wood chips can fly off unexpectedly, and we definitely don't want any of those in our eyes. Also, always cut away from your body. This reduces the risk of injury. Finally, after all the measuring, marking, and cutting, we'll have the pieces of our birdhouse ready. We'll have the base, the sides, the roof, and the entrance hole all cut out and ready to be assembled. But we'll get to that in the next scene. For now, let's take a moment to appreciate the fruits of our labor. Look at those beautifully cut pieces of cedar wood. They're not just pieces of wood anymore. They're the beginnings of a cozy home for our feathered friends. Safety goggles on? Great. Let's cut out the parts for our birdhouse. Next, grab your hammer and nails. We're about to bring our birdhouse to life by assembling the structure. This process is as exciting as it is crucial. Each piece we've cut out is like a puzzle piece, waiting to find its spot in this avian abode we're creating. Start with the base of the birdhouse, place it on your workbench, and then position one of the side pieces against it. Now, it's time for the first nail. Position it carefully at the corner where the base and side piece meet and give it a firm tap with your hammer. Repeat this process on the other side of the base with the second side piece. With the base and sides secured, we're beginning to see the shape of our birdhouse. Let's move on to the front and back pieces. Line them up with the edges of the side pieces, and just as we did with the base, secure them with nails. Now we're onto the roof. Depending on your design, you might have one or two pieces here. If you have two, remember to leave a small gap between them for ventilation. This can be a nice touch to ensure that our feathered friends stay comfortable in all types of weather. Once your roof is securely nailed down, take a step back and admire your work. You've assembled the structure of your birdhouse. But we're not done yet. It's important to double-check that each nail is firmly in place. Give them a gentle tug to ensure they're not loose. And there you have it, the assembled structure of your birdhouse. It's starting to look like a cozy retreat for birds, isn't it? Remember, the sturdier, the better, especially during those windy days. We want our birdhouse to be a safe and secure home that can withstand the elements. In the next step, we'll talk about design tips to make your birdhouse not only functional but also visually appealing. So stay tuned. Here's where you can get creative. When it comes to designing your birdhouse, consider the needs of your avian guests. Think about the size of the entrance hole. Smaller birds need smaller holes, and larger birds need larger ones. The placement of the perch is also important. Birds prefer perches that are near the entrance but not directly below it to avoid predators. In addition, consider making a removable roof for your birdhouse. This can make cleaning it out a breeze, ensuring it's ready for the next family to move in. Lastly, don't forget about aesthetics. The design of your birdhouse can reflect your personal style, whether it's rustic, modern, whimsical, or something else entirely. Remember, a well-designed birdhouse is not only functional but also a charming addition to your garden or yard. Sketch your design beforehand to save time. And now for the final touch: painting and decoration. This is the part where your birdhouse truly comes to life, reflecting your personal style and adding an extra dash of charm to your garden. Let's start with the paint. Always opt for a weather-resistant variety to ensure your birdhouse stands up to the elements. You can choose to go for a natural stain, which would allow the grain of the cedar wood to show through. Alternatively, you can select a vibrant color to make your birdhouse stand out. Remember, this is your project, so feel free to express yourself. Before we begin painting, make sure your birdhouse is clean and free of dust. An old cloth or a soft brush will do the trick. Then, apply a layer of primer. This will not only give your paint a smooth surface to adhere to, but also help protect the wood. Once the primer is dry, it's time to let your colors fly. You can use a brush for larger areas and a smaller one for the details. Don't be afraid to experiment with different patterns. Polka dots, stripes, or even a mural of your favorite bird species. The sky's the limit. While painting, pay attention to the entrance hole. It's best to keep it paint-free to prevent any potential harm to the birds. Use a smaller brush or painter's tape to ensure a clean edge. Now, while we wait for the paint to dry, let's talk about decorations. Consider adding a cute little perch or some moss on the roof for a more natural look. However, avoid using anything that might be harmful to the birds, like glitter or small loose items that they could choke on. Once the paint's dry, take a step back and admire your work. You've just turned a few pieces of cedar wood into a beautiful birdhouse, a cozy haven for your feathered friends. Now, all that's left is to find the perfect spot in your garden and hang your masterpiece. And just like that, you've created not only a safe haven for birds, but a charming addition to your yard. We've journeyed through the process together, from gathering materials to applying the finishing touches. And I hope you found the experience as rewarding as I have. Building a birdhouse is more than just a DIY project. It's a small act of kindness towards our feathered friends, providing them with a safe and warm place to rest. Plus, it adds a dash of charm to our gardens, doesn't it? So, how did your birdhouse turn out? I can't wait to see your unique designs and the creative ways you've made your birdhouse truly your own. Before we part ways, I want to thank you for your time and enthusiasm. Remember, every project is a chance to learn something new and to create something with love. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more DIY fun and hit that bell icon to stay updated on all our latest projects. Until next time, stay crafty, friends.